There we go. All right, so if you can get out your yellow paper from yesterday, or if you did it online, it would be relevant to pull it up on the computer in case there's any details that you want to add. So, for the digital television benefits, what are some things that you guys learned? Because the very first 3 questions, there was that short article you read about in 2009. It was required to switch from analog television being broadcast to digital being broadcast. What were some benefits of that? Sarah?
It was better video and sound quality.
Okay, the quality of the sound and the quality of the video was more consistent and improved over the analog. All right, any other benefits?
Did it have more channels?
More channels. So with the analog, because it was trying to transmit everything in that continuous, basically each channel would have to have its own signal. But by switching to digital, because it was just pieces and that code, which was much more simplified, that same signal could transmit multiple channels. So your TV could receive that signal and give you like Fox and NBC and CBS, all with that single signal it received. So more channels could be broadcast, all right? Any other benefits of the digital transition? All right, so let's take a look, because those are some of the big ones. So on number 2, we're looking at the why. Because sure, we can have better TV, sure, we can have more channels, but why would the government organization of the Federal Communications Commission require that switch? Why would that be something that would be relevant for the government to get involved with? Sarah?
Because with digital signals, there's more room for like security and safety.
All right, so because you could attach multiple stations to one signal, it allowed other signals to be available for emergency communication with our fire departments and our police and any of those other emergency. So it freed up the ability to use those transmission signals for more things because TV wasn't taking pretty much all of those signal options. So that was a relevant thing to do. All right, so considering digital signals allow for higher picture and sound quality, why do most people prefer to use it? So why would digital be something people would pick over analog?
Like, just like, if you were to watch something, you just want to watch something that like sounded better, looked better, just in general, because it just is better.
Now, how many of you guys like watching, whether it's a game or a movie, on someone's nice big TV? Right? It's nicer, right? The bigger the better when we're watching movies. And that's a value a lot of times going to the theater. It's even bigger and better. Now, how many of you guys on that really nice big TV have watched a really old movie and it's not very clear? And if you don't watch older movies, some of them that haven't been digitally remastered to be all pretty and clean again, you can have the fanciest TV, but if you got that old quality analog recording, the bigger it is, the more blurry it is. So almost the smaller screen, it looks better. So you like it to feel bigger and clearer and cleaner, and that's why a lot of times people watch their movies in HD or the IMAX and that kind of stuff, because it makes it a little more enjoyable and clear, especially people that watch games live. When you can see it bigger and it's really clear, you can see what's going on so much better.
Don't analog TVs have that really high-pitched read?
Sometimes they do, yes. And part of it is because the interference can affect that analog more than digital, that code that's easy to filter out interference, so that's why it's often. Analog TVs, like when I was growing up, if the signal was kind of weak, and you've maybe seen it where it looks kind of like snow, and it looks kind of glitchy that way, which a benefit of analog, if there was a weak signal, you could still see it. It'd be kind of snowy or glitchy, but you could still see it. But we don't have cable in our house, so when our kids want to watch something on TV, if there's a storm or a weak signal, just the channel isn't there at all. So at least when I was a kid, the sound might be a little bit glitchy here or there. It might be the actual visuals might go back and forth between being a little bit blurry versus clear. We could still watch the whole episode, where now you either have it or you don't. So there's a little bit of a drawback, but most people think the benefits of the better quality, the more HD video and that kind of stuff outweighs the, if you're getting it through an antenna, it's okay that sometimes it doesn't work, because a lot of people stream and get it in other ways. All right, so that's just some things with our TV and some of that switch that allowed to keep up with our technology to get better viewing. All right, so music. That's a big deal, and people have been into music for a really long time. So being able to preserve it and replay it in our homes is something that people really worked to do. So phonographic cylinders were one of the first, and they showed up in 1877. How much music could be on a phonographic cylinder? And I'm getting a lot of the same people. How much?
Just one song.
Okay, one song, and how long could that song be?
Wasn't it like 3 minutes?
3 minutes. So one song, 3 minutes, and the cylinder was about that big around, about that long. So what were some problems with that, which really has to do with the reliability of storing and transmitting multiple times? James, or sorry, not James, Derek.
After a while, the wax would wear down and it would have troubles playing the song.
Okay, the wax would dead. Does anybody remember how many times you could play it before it wasn't any good anymore? 12 times. So now, before this, you couldn't listen to songs in your own home unless you sang them or played them yourself. So people were like, yay, I can listen to some music 12 times, and then I'll pay to get it recarved, and then I can listen to it again. Nowadays, if you paid to download a song and had to pay for it again after 12 times, would that be pretty frustrating? Yeah, but we have access to music in many different ways that they didn't back then. So is the phonographic cylinder analog or digital? Getting a lot of the same hands. What about from this table? What do you think?
Analog.
It's analog. Because the actual vibrations of the sound were carved kind of in a coil around that cylinder. So when you put it on the phonograph, there was a little needle that would bounce on those carvings that were continuously carved, recreating the vibrations. And then the megaphone looking thing amplified it just like megaphones do. So it just would vibrate based on those continuous carvings to replay it.
After the wax wore off on one, did you recarve it that did different songs?
Yes. Yeah, because it was just a matter of what vibrations you put in there. So you could melt down the wax, recarve different songs if you decided you wanted to try something different. Absolutely. Now obviously some of those drawbacks led to people wanting to try, oh yes Derek.
If you were to recarve it and then just go in a random direction and then go back, would it play like this song and then go into like a random static and then go back?
Yes.
That's cool.
Kind of like, actually I'll readdress that in a second when we get to the gramophone. So piano rolls came out next, and the piano rolls, how much music could be stored on one roll? How much?
One song.
One song. So if you take a look at this is a piano roll, and that's what you hook up in that part. Now my dad has a player piano, and I'm actually going to play a video of that so you can kind of see how it actually works. And he has a couple rolls that are a little bit bigger, about this size, and they can play for about 12 minutes. The standard roll is normally a 3 or 4 minute song, but they can get a little bit bigger. So we're going to play the video just so you can see how that works, and then we'll talk about a couple other things and then move on to the gramophone. As you can see, the rolls up there at the top and the holes. How it works, there's foot pedals that you have to pump. This is a really old school one. So you have to pump the foot pedals so air can be sucked in. So behind that part where the paper is, there's a little tube for each of the notes on the piano. So air can go through the hole, and it'll go through the tube and cause the key to drop, and that's what makes the key drop, ping the chords, and make the sound. So it's that pattern of whether or not there's a hole, air can get sucked through, making the key drop. Of course, there's all sorts of gears and stuff in between, but the basic idea is, if you look over there, that case is where all the music's being stored. That's about 200 songs. So if you're thinking about storage space, 200 songs, you need a pretty big cabinet to be able to store them in. So that's kind of just that basic idea on that player piano. Sarah?
Yeah, I went to Nauvoo, and there was like one small shop and had a player piano on that.
Yeah, they're pretty fascinating to watch. That was fun when my dad got his to be like, to just watch it and play it. Yeah. Yes.
So my uncle was trying to make like a full-out bar in his basement, and he had a pool table, and he had like a bunch of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And the one thing he needed was a player piano. And so I remember helping him like shop for it forever. And then he invited me to